In less than 2 hours, Republican Congressman Paul Ryan will face the music as he meets with members of the Congressional Black Caucus over the controversial comments he made about poverty last month. On a conservative radio show, Ryan offended some with talk about the culture of work in inner cities, something he has since apologized for. Joining me, Democratic Congresswoman and CBC member Gwen of Wisconsin. Good to see you again, Congresswoman. Good morning.
It's fantastic being with you. Good morning.
I know the CBC sent a list of questions to Paul Ryan in advance of the meeting. Have you heard back from him? What do you want to get out of this meeting?
Well, first of all, Chris, this is not an ambush. We have sent the questions to him, and we see it as an opportunity to have a serious discussion with him about poverty and about ways to alleviate the lack of job opportunities with African Americans. As we speak, Paul Ryan is having one of his classic discussions of poverty in the Budget Committee right now as we speak. What we want to do is we want to really challenge his assumptions about the laziness, as it were, of inner city men and you know, point out some very specific proposals that we have regarding training opportunities and economic development opportunities that would help not only African-American men, but all poor people, call our 10-20-30 program. We also want to challenge him on his assumptions that creating greater inequality is good for our economy overall.
You're part of the Budget Committee with Congressman Ryan, and you have said previously, I'm going to here, we're not going to let him get away with this sort of sleight of hand on this. We know how to crunch numbers as well. Now, the House version of the budget has already passed, so I wonder where you think this conversation is going to go, because you clearly have fundamentally different ideas about what to do to improve the economy.
Well, yes, I did say that, Chris, and the Congressional Black Caucus puts together a very responsible budget every single year. It's true that the budget has passed. It won't become law, and so the door is always open for adapting and changing strategies going forward. Paul Ryan is not going anywhere. He is the Budget Committee chair now. Next cycle, he's going to be either the ranking member or the chair of Ways and Means Committee. He's a leader, and we want to put these ideas on the table that we have. We've worked very hard on them. Yes, the Congressional Black Caucus, under the leadership of Bobby Scott and members like Barbara Lee, and of course our chair, Marcia Fudge, we have worked very, very hard on putting together a responsible budget that looks at deficit reduction, lifting people out of poverty, and helping our economy grow, something we don't think that the Ryan budget does at all.
Let me ask you if I can get some quick comments on a couple of other things in the news this morning, Congresswoman. Big news out of Wisconsin, the federal judge striking down your state's voter ID law. Shortly after the ruling, you tweeted a victory for voting rights. The judge in the case ruled this law violates the constitutional rights of minority and low-income voters. How important is this ruling?
This is extremely important. It's important because it also invokes Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. You know, in the previous decisions, the argument has always been that that the integrity of the vote is at risk. But what he found is that the cases of impersonation of voters was almost negligible, non-existent, that the burden on regular voters, some 300,000 of them of Wisconsin, would be great. And so we think that this really sets a new bar for other states, and the fact that he invoked the voter right law, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, is important as we go forward toward making sure that we preserve those provisions under the Voting Rights Act.
And if I can ask you about our lead story today, you've advocated against the death penalty, even co-sponsored the Federal Death Penalty Abolition Act, and we reported on that botched execution in Oklahoma. How does what happened in Oklahoma, do you think, play into the overall conversation, the national conversation?
You know, I do think, even as a person who's experienced having a close, beloved relative murdered, that was then when I really realized that I was against the death penalty. I'm against the death penalty because I don't think it makes us better. I don't think we ultimately get that kind of revenge. And I do think that people of conscience will continue to fight against this.
Democratic Congresswoman Gwen, good to have you on the program again. Thank you.
And thank you.